This is the Snapcycle S1 e-bike, and I'm gonna give you a spoiler alert right now. I love this thing. Now, I've been testing this for a number of weeks now. I put about 50 miles on it. In this video, I'm going to show you unboxing and putting it together, tell you about the features and specs, show you how I'm using it, and tell you what I like about it and what I don't like about it. I probably should clean up my messy corner of the garage here. Or I could play with this. This box weighs 88 pounds total, so you can lift it, but it's a big awkward shape. I had to use a hand truck to get it back here to the garage.
Snapcycle did provide the bike for me to test and review. However, I have not been paid to produce this video, nor am I under any obligation to say anything specific. The content of this video is entirely my own words and opinions. The Snapcycle S1 comes almost entirely assembled right out of the box. After removing the packaging and protective padding, you'll just need to insert the handlebar into the stem on the frame, install the pedals, inflate the tires, and charge the battery.
There is no printed owner's manual or instructions in the box, so if you do get one of these, I would highly recommend looking both their unboxing video that they have on YouTube as well as the owner's manual they have available online. I looked at all that stuff before I even opened the box. It was very, very helpful in understanding what to do out here.
The smaller box includes the pedals, a small fold-up toolkit with Allen keys, standard and Phillips screwdrivers, and a socket driver with a few sockets.
And this would be the charger. There's a port right here to plug in the charger. You can also remove the battery from the bike when it's folded in order to charge it inside or someplace warmer if you're in cold temperatures. When you go to install the pedals, note that there is a small L and a small R on each of the pedals so that you make sure you put the right pedal on the right side. Now, this bike does require a key to get it started. You can't just turn it on and go, so that gives you a little extra level of security. The ignition, for lack of a better word, is located underneath the frame here, sort of goes into where the battery is.
The bike comes with 2 keys and a spring-loaded key ring, so you can easily remove the bike key from the rest of your keys. You wouldn't want to have all your keys hanging down there while you ride around. Don't forget to inflate the tires before getting out on your first ride. The Snapcycle S1 is a folding e-bike. At $1,559, it's not the cheapest out there, but also not the most expensive. The S1 has 5 levels of pedal assist, but can also be ridden without pedaling by simply operating the spring-loaded twist throttle, which is responsive and variable. I had never ridden an e-bike before, but it's very intuitive. The motor kicks in automatically when you pedal, providing whatever level of power assist you have selected. The bike is effortless to pedal with the assist modes engaged, and even riding up steep hills is a piece of cake. Whether you're on assist level 1 or 5, the throttle always works fully, which I've found to be extremely useful. After riding this around town extensively for some weeks, I found that I tend to use assist level 2 or 3, while also using the hand throttle at times. It's nice to give it a bit of throttle when pulling away from a stoplight, making slow tight maneuvers that would be awkward to do while also pedaling, or when you need to focus on navigating and balancing over rough terrain. Or, let's be honest, if you just want to take a break from pedaling, it's pretty enjoyable to just sit back and ride it like a little motor scooter. The S1 comes configured as a Class 2 e-bike. That means the motor will not propel the bike any faster than 20 miles per hour. Check your local laws, but here in Eugene, Oregon, a Class 2 e-bike is still considered a bicycle and can legally use bike lanes as well as our extensive bike path system. The S1 can be programmed to remove the speed governor and will go up to about 28 miles per hour, but this then becomes a Class 3 e-bike that may not be legal as a bicycle. The S1 comes with a Class 3 sticker you can affix if you choose to increase the speed. I love being able to dart around town via our many dedicated bike paths and shortcuts, so leaving this at its factory Class 2 setting feels perfect to me. The 750 watt motor is largely adequate to propel me around town as well as up forest roads. Again, having no previous experience with e-bikes, I didn't really know what to expect, but this delivers way more power than I imagined possible. I'll talk about range more specifically later in the video, but the 14 amp hour Samsung lithium battery goes astonishingly far on a single charge. The wheels are 20 inches with 4-inch wide tires, and I found these to work well both on and off pavement. The bike feels sure-footed, and the fat tires inspire confidence. The knobby tread seems pretty open and shallow, but that said, I haven't had any issue even in loose gravel, mud, wet grass, or anything else I've encountered so far. Definitely love having those fat tires.
Now this is a 7-speed bike. I've not had any issues with the Shimano shifter, shifting up, shifting down. That all works great. You can pedal this bike just as a bike. You can completely shut off the e-assist and just simply pedal it. That said, it's a heavy bike, and it's not something you'd probably want to do a lot of pedaling on without the assist.
The Snapcycle S1 is equipped with front and rear disc brakes. The brakes make some noise, but I've never had a bike with disc brakes, so I don't know if that's to be expected. But the brakes do get the job done. The front fork is equipped with shock absorbers, and this suspension is adjustable. The LCD display includes a speedometer, odometer, power output meter, and battery level readout. It's large and easy to read. I did find that the speedometer reads about 1 mile per hour faster than my local police department radar. The Snapcycle S1 does come with a headlight, and you can control it from the same panel that controls the e-bike motor. The seat height is of course adjustable with a quick release clamp here. The seat itself I have actually found to be quite comfortable. Even after putting 50 miles on this thing, I did not end up saddle sore in any way. The Snapcycle S1 does come with this very, very beefy rack already bolted onto the bike. And I really like this rack. It's proven helpful not only just as a grab point to move the bike around and point to strap or bungee or whatever. I'm looking forward to adapting this to being able to carry some gear with me on the bike. Now this particular folding e-bike doesn't look much different than many of the other folding e-bikes that are available out there, and there's a number of them. I do feel like this is particularly solid, particularly well made. It's beefy, it's thick. I mean, that's part of why it's so heavy, but when I'm riding on this thing down a rough road, it just feels solid, it inspires confidence. I will say that in addition to the fact that it folds, enabling me to get it into the truck, I actually really just kind of like how it looks. It's rugged, off-roady, it looks satisfying when I walk up to it. It's like, yeah, I want to go ride that thing around. To fold the S1, you release this lever. There is a small built-in support that allows the bike to sit when folded without resting on the chain and gear. Releasing this lever allows the handlebar to fold down. Setting the bike up is simply the reverse. Raise the handlebar and secure it, then unfold the body and clamp the side latch, and you're ready to roll.
Now, Snapcycle wasn't the first e-bike company to reach out to me, but they were the first one to offer me a folding e-bike. And that, to me, made a lot more sense than a standard style bike, which I just did not see a way that I could incorporate into my setup. So why did I feel like a folding e-bike would potentially be a good addition to my gear? First and foremost, it seems like a great way to scout up some questionable trails. It happens frequently when I'm out exploring. A road looks a little iffy, and this truck is not a lot of fun to turn around on narrow forest trails or narrow shelf roads. Some of these roads just come to an end, and I end up having to back up for a quarter mile, half mile, even a mile. A lot of times I will hike out those roads on foot and see what they look like, but that's time consuming, and ultimately there's only so far I'm going to be willing to go. With the bike, I can get up a trail very quickly and scope it out, check it out, see if it's potentially drivable for the truck or not, and just get a feel for what's up there.
Not only does this reduce my gas consumption when I'm out exploring, back home, I found myself using it for running little errands around town. Many times it's almost faster and easier to hop on this bike, run to the store, run to some place to get some lunch, whatever little errand I need to do, and not burning a drop of fuel in the process. And on top of that, it's just plain fun. I love riding around town on this. I love riding around out here in the forest with it. It's just a blast. It's a very enjoyable way to be outdoors. Even though it is an e-bike, and this may sound counterintuitive, I am also actually getting exercise with it. You can ride it, almost like a motorcycle. You can just pull the throttle and drive without even pedaling at all. But honestly, to me, if I'm on a bike that's got pedals, it feels ridiculous not to pedal. Since getting this bike, I have been out biking, 50 miles that I probably wouldn't have biked over the past few weeks. Okay, for this range test, I've got a freshly charged battery. I've just unplugged it. I'm gonna ride it around just with the throttle only. I'm not gonna give it any pedal input, and we'll see how long I can go and how many miles it logs. It's at 51.7 miles, 10:03 a.m., and I'm gonna start the stopwatch as well. All right, let's go. For my range test, I did an assortment of riding, including a lot of stop-and-go city riding, some extended bike path cruising, and went up and down some hills, riding the bike entirely with the throttle only and not pedaling. I honestly thought this might take an hour or so, but 2.5 hours and 30 miles later, I still had 1 bar left on the battery indicator and finally had to just stop due to a prior commitment. That's already massively exceeded my expectations. I'm stunned. I'm thoroughly impressed by the distance this went on its own. If I actually provided some pedal power, I'm sure it would go much further. When I've run the battery pretty low, I find that the 3-amp charger takes a good 4 or 5 hours to fully recharge the bike. When you consider the capacity and range of the battery, that seems pretty reasonable. In practical day-to-day use, I don't come anywhere near consuming the whole battery, and I really only need to plug it in overnight, about once a week. On camping trips, I can easily keep it topped off, if needed, using my Jackery power station. In its folded state, it is definitely much more awkward to handle than I anticipated, and not nearly as easy to fit into the truck as I anticipated. It's a lot of weight to handle awkwardly, and it does kind of tend to want to open up as you're moving it, and I've picked this thing up from all kinds of different angles and approaches, and it's a little bit of a struggle. I really like the idea of the folding bike. I do feel like there's room for improvement in the folded state, some way for it to securely stay folded, possibly even some kind of handle someplace. The rear rack makes a good gripping point, but then the rest of it, there's not really a good spot to get a grip, and I keep running into cables and wires, and I'm worried I'm going to damage something as I'm, muscling this rather heavy sort of bundle up into the truck. I found it helpful to use a bungee cord to keep it sort of contained and manageable as I lift it into the truck. I'm not big and strong by any means. I can get it done. My teenage daughter or my 21-year-old son, neither of them would be able to get this bike into the truck like I just did. That's definitely a consideration if this is something that you're thinking about. Additionally, if you're out on a wet, muddy day like today, I'm getting that thing all up against me as I try and lift it up into the truck. I think for many people, a more conventional style e-bike may make more sense. Snapcycle does also have a more standard looking bike with bigger wheels. As you can see, it doesn't come with a tail light. Feels like for the price, a tail light that would run off of the battery would have been a nice touch. Now this is a little awkward. I understand why it has to be under here to protect it from the weather. There are these cables that run right across where the key goes, and so I have to kind of push them out of the way in order to get the key up in there and turn it on. I love the color of this bike, but the paint does seem to scratch pretty easily. It was marred right out of the box, and I have accumulated a number of additional scratches in just a month of using it. The Snapcycle S1 folding e-bike is solidly built, powerful, has impressive range, handles well off-road, is practical as an around-town errand vehicle, reduces my gas consumption, and it's just plain fun. It is heavy, and it's awkward to handle when folded. The keyhole placement is a little awkward, there's no taillight, and the paint is a little on the fragile side. Even with a few nitpicks, overall I am super impressed with this bike, and I like it so much, in fact, that as I redesign my final camping build inside my truck, I'm planning to design it around being able to better accommodate taking this bike with me on my backcountry adventures. Thanks for watching.